Well, I love snow days. We are in the middle of our second snow day, and I'm sitting here at home. My wife really loves snow days because she's a teacher as well. And so being sitting at home has caused me to think random recovery thoughts. So I'd like to share with you a few random winter recovery thoughts for today. Welcome aboard.
Ready?
When it comes to porn, are you stuck, spinning out, or slipping backwards in your life? If so, then welcome to the Finding Traction podcast, a show dedicated to those who are looking to gain recovery momentum away from porn and toward the life and relationships they have always hoped for. Now, here's your host, Vern Tomke.
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you to all of you who sent me condolences and sympathy. And there were many of you who sent them to me for my Cowboys meltdown loss in the playoffs. Even though some of your sympathies and condolences, I know were not genuine in the least from you. But I'll take it. But I can live with that because I practice my own share of Schadenfreude. So who am I to talk? My goal for the playoffs now is for my least two favorite teams to get booted out as well. So yes, I am a dysfunctional broken man when it comes to football. So, but on the other side, I got to practice this week a great recovery tool called reframing. And I told myself many times, you know what? I am a blessed man. I am a blessed man when the biggest pain in my life is currently the loss of a freaking football team. Now, that is definitely a first world problem. And so just the fact that I could still experience pain from something as trivial as football, that was part of my reframing, and it's working for me, so don't mess with it. And so I'm going with that. First of all, before I get into these random winter recovery thoughts, February 1st is a few weeks away, and we are starting a new Thursday late afternoon, evening group. It's for guys that are professionals, pastors, people that are in positions of trust, and we are going to be starting a new group. It's going to be meeting at 5:30 p.m. And that is Pacific time. So you can work across the continent. And that would, I think, be 8:30 Eastern time. And if you're in England or Australia, you can get up in the middle of the night or early morning, something like that. So that is something that you may want to consider. We are looking for a few good men, or maybe more appropriately, a few men who want to be good men. And so I'd love to have you connect with me. My email is bandofbrothers.care@gmail.com, and you can ask me a little bit more about that group and the specifics of that group if that at all interests you. So again, that's going to be on Thursdays at 5:30 p.m. Pacific. Alrighty. Well, let me give you a few random thoughts here. And here's random thought number one: keeping the road clear. Recently, our town, just today and yesterday, had a record snowfall that shut down the town essentially, including giving my wife a couple of snow days from school, which makes her a happy camper. She's presently sitting on the couch painting with pastels. She's a bit of an artist, and she's having the time of her life. And but it was interesting before the snowfall hit. The weather was beautiful. I mean, it was a little cold, but it was clear, and life was good. The weather was beautiful, but my wife, who's always trusting the forecast, she said there is a storm coming in the next day or two. And I could look outside and go, "You sure?" And but they forecasted a huge dump of snow, And so, of course, my wife made a stop on the way home and get a whole bunch of extra groceries. She made sure that the firewood box was completely full. Yes, we have a fireplace. We don't always use it, but it's ready for when the power goes out, which it didn't. But the firebox was completely full. And we were ready. We were ready, thanks to her, of course. We were ready for this big dump of snow. And, it made me think about recovery because, you could be in a place in your life where you're going, I am doing pretty good. Every time I come up to plate, I seem to get a base hit, or, I'm feeling good about my recovery. You know what? I think I've got this figured out. I think I'm on a roll. Maybe I'm free and clear of this thing. And, I'm all for great clear weather. It's wonderful to have a day where you're going, man, I am experiencing recovery. Not just that, I'm experiencing serenity. I'm not experiencing obsessive thoughts. I can get on with my day. The weather is fine, and we're good. But a wise person, and you don't even need to be a prepper on this one, goes and checks the forecast and knows when the next storm is going to hit. And I can guarantee you, if you, like me, have lived a life of embedded porn habits that you have developed over many years, I can guarantee you that another storm will blow in. A season of trial, a season of temptation, a season of urgent urges, that is coming. And you need to be prepared that your wood box is full, that your grocery pantry is full. And what do I mean by that? First of all, it just means getting out of the denial. You will experience, even though you might be experiencing real sense of freedom right now, you will experience real seasons of testing, and that's coming. And so what does it mean to prepare for the next winter storm, so to speak? Well, number one, you need to keep your recovery connections strong. You need to be checking in with those 3 to 5 guys, even when you're doing well. Even if you just talk football for a while, but you need to have those connections strong. You need to have your escape plan figured out. When I am feeling wobbly, I will do this. Or the next time you're experiencing strong negative emotions, the next fight you have with your wife, the next bad day you have at the office or with work, you need to have your escape plan in place. And, there's the old saying, and you might have heard it, those who are wise, basically, if you fail to sweat in times of peace, you will bleed in times of war. And that is just what wise people do. You don't have to live in fear all the time, but you live in clear, consistent preparation for whatever weather you're going to experience. Right? It reminds me of places that live with a lot of brush nearby. They say clear away all the brush because the next fire season that's coming, that won't, burn right up to your house. That's just, common sense. That's just wise living. Talking about snowstorms and winter conditions, I found it interesting what the highway maintenance department did previous to the storm coming. They actually had these lines of, I don't know if it was salt or brine or something. They were laying them out on the roads, even though the road was completely clear. You could see these lines that were being laid out. They were preparing for the coming snow. And apparently what these lines do is it doesn't stop the snow from actually settling on the road. But what it does is it minimizes the potential buildup of ice under the snow. Now, if you've listened to me or tracked with me for any period of time, you know how much I love using the word picture of tires and the traction metaphor. So thinking about tires and traction, and I'm going to be all over the map today, I was thinking about another application of this. We want to do whatever we can to keep the rubber, the tires of our vehicle firmly connected with the road surface without any hindrance, without any obstacle. We want nothing to come between our tires and the road. One of the areas where I have seen guys tend to hydroplane on the road. If you don't know what hydroplaning is, it's a reason why they say you should never use cruise control in a driving rainstorm, because your tires could hydroplane. And one of the areas, you could use the same thing with, the snow, the black ice, drive to road conditions. And that's always the part of number one thing they tell you in winter conditions: slow the heck down, slow down, right? Drive to road conditions. Well, one of the areas where I see guys not driving to road conditions is through patterns of deception. If you find yourself, and I find that most people, if that may be a bit strong, but many people are as addicted to lying and deception and covering over and shading the truth as much as they are actually engaged in porn behaviors. It's like an old definition I heard of how do we define our sobriety, and I've heard some people use the word lamp, LAMP. Working backwards, P was for porn, M was for masturbation, A was for adultery, whether that's real or virtual, and guess what L was for? L was for lying. Whenever you fail to tell the complete truth, your tires leave the road ever so slightly. And one of the biggest lessons that guys are learning in our groups, and sometimes it takes a while, is for guys who come into groups to learn to be completely honest, to keep their road surface completely clean. And you might say, well, Vern, guys are, you're meeting with guys and you don't know them. You've never met them before. You're probably never going to meet them, in the coffee shop, because our meetings are virtual. They're Zoom groups. And yet, just this instinctive tendency to not want to embarrass yourself, want to present the best version of yourself, of not completely tell the truth about what you did or how your week went, is just so instinctive, even with guys you don't even know. And so we learn slowly but surely, and I'm constantly encouraging guys and congratulating guys sometimes when they share what was a not a great week at all. They might have fallen flat on their faces and they've got bruises to show it. I know what that's like, right? And to learn to share that and learn to do that almost where it becomes the habit, right? As part of that. That is absolutely huge, because you're keeping your road clean. So there you go. That's random recovery winter thought number 1. Here's random thought number 2. Nothing good happens after ... Now I've seen a few of those Hard Knocks episodes. You might have seen them, where they pull together and they start right at the very beginning of the season. In fact, apparently even the NFL has done this with all of their brand new people. They have almost this camp. So think about it. You're 18, 19, 20. Well, they're probably, you come out of college. So your early 20s, let's go with that. And now all of a sudden you've lived this life of poor student. Now for the first time in your life, you're essentially given millions of dollars. Guys go out and buy themselves the hottest car they can. They go out and do all sorts of stupid things. One of the things these young rookies do is they end up staying out late, going to the clubs or strip club, whatever it is, and you always hear these stories of these young, new, fresh millionaires, rock star athletes getting in trouble in fights or having something happen at 1 a.m, and or driving home with and whatever, and they can destroy their entire career. And what they say to these young rookies is this: nothing good happens after midnight. If you're out after midnight, and this sounds like, a father talking to children, but in one sense, these guys are just young guys. Nothing good happens after midnight. If you're out after midnight on the town, chances are the odds of you, either by your own actions or the actions of other people, you are going to find yourself in trouble. Nothing good happens after midnight. And in the same way, when it comes to our online activities, what is that hour for you? Nothing good happens after 10 o'clock. Nothing good happens after 11 o'clock. One of the guys recently that I get his Covenant Eyes reports. Now, he hadn't done anything wrong, but I asked him, I said, I saw that I got one of these questionable sites thing as his ally. And I says, I saw that it was 11:35 p.m. What were you doing on your computer at 11:35 p.m.? Because it actually had the times. Now, it turned out that him and his wife were on it, and they were checking something out. It was all innocent. But the reality is that most guys struggle. Could be your wife goes to bed. Maybe you're single, and it's just at night you're tired. And one of the very simple tools is to say, you know what? After 10 p.m., your phone goes in the bathroom, or you're off your computer. Or even another example, some guys go, well, I really want to do that, but I end up going back to it. Then the other thing that you do is a second thing to make that more obvious is maybe you get the Freedom app, where you can just turn off your internet access. You could still get phone calls, but you turn off your internet access after, let's say, 10 o'clock at night. So that is just a practical tool. So, going back to the idea of last time, next time, if you tend to find it's the late night struggle, then say, well, nothing good happens after this time. Now, it might be 8 times out of 10 you're good, but that's a little bit of that preparing for the storm. But 2 times out of 10 or 1 time out of 20, you're going to find you're tired and you're bored, and it's after that 10 o'clock or whatever it is, and then you end up getting in trouble. When is your time? Nothing good is after. Be prepared for the winter storm that is on the way. Now, I have 1 or 2 guys that like to surf early in the morning before their wife gets up. And then I would just say to you, nothing good happens before 6 a.m., for example. So you can make the necessary adjustments for your situation. There we go. Okay. So finally, third random winter thought. I have a wise quote for you for the day. Now, this one you're going to take some thinking. It actually comes, somebody emailed me this quote, my buddy George did, and it is actually a quote from G.K. Chesterton, who is apparently quoting some medieval philosopher. So you're ready to put your deep hat on? Here we go. All evil comes from enjoying what we ought to use and using what we ought to enjoy. I'll say that one more time. All evil comes from enjoying what we ought to use and using what we ought to enjoy. You might even need to write that down and give that some thought. So there is a quote to stimulate your deep thoughts for the rest of the day. All right. Well, it's great to hear. It's great to have you listening. Thank you again for your support. I am in the process of retaping my Finding Traction course. I am now in the middle of quarter 3. And hopefully my goal is by the end of this school year, even before that, to have the Finding Traction course, the second edition, completely done by the end of June. So I'll keep you up to date with that as well. So here's to enjoying the winter weather. Hope you have many snow days where you can stay home, but like those who, unlike me, you can stay home but still get paid. That's the best thing of a snow day for all of those government workers out there. So we'll see you next time.